The stories of the Master always contain profound teachings. They often feature miracles, but most importantly, they emphasize virtues like humility, purity, benevolence, wisdom, and charity. These stories help us understand the Master's spiritual world and his relationship with his followers. They also reveal the essence of the religion's teachings, which can guide us in our daily lives. By reflecting on the stories, we can learn valuable lessons that apply to everyday situations. Through simple narratives, the Master imparts teachings that touch the hearts of his followers, offering guidance and inspiration. These stories are a testament to the impact of his teachings and his enduring legacy. Today, let's explore 7 stories that capture the essence of his character and teachings. 1. A faithful vow. A long time ago, there was a Buddhist monk named Ngoan. He lived deep in the mountains and was deeply devoted to meditation and religious practices. Over time, his unwavering dedication led him to achieve enlightenment. However, his journey wasn't easy. Along the way, he faced countless hardships and difficulties, but he never wavered in his commitment. Even when death approached, he remained steadfast in his devotion. One day, the gods sent an emissary to the enlightened monk Eng, informing him that King Ashoka would soon pass through the area and wanted Eng to make a wish. Whatever he wished for would be granted. Monk Eng didn't hesitate. He knew exactly what he wanted. He asked the messenger to tell the king that he wanted to join him on his journey. When the king heard this, he was surprised. He had never heard of such a devoted follower. Intrigued, he invited Monk Eng to accompany him. As the two traveled together, the king shared his plans to build a large temple complex. He wanted to name it after Monk Eng in recognition of his unwavering loyalty. But Monk Eng humbly declined the offer. He didn't want the temple to bear his name. Instead, he suggested that the king use the name Vin Trang, which means shining body. The king agreed, and the impressive Vin Trang temple complex was built. It became one of the largest and most magnificent religious centers in the region. Today, more than 1,500 years later, the Vin Trang Pagoda still stands majestically. It continues to attract countless visitors from around the world who come to admire its beauty and learn about the inspiring story of Monk Ong and his unwavering vow of faithfulness. 2. Golden Branch. Once upon a time in India, there was a young man named Sumedha. He had everything a person could desire: wealth, fame, and a loving family. But despite all his blessings, Sumedha was unhappy. He felt empty and yearned for something more. One day, Sumedha decided to embark on a journey to find the secret to happiness. He traveled far and wide, seeking the wisdom of great teachers and gurus. Along his journey, he heard about a renowned sage named Kanakabharati Muni, who lived deep in the forest. Sumedha decided to visit the sage and learn from his teachings. When Sumedha reached the sage's hermitage, he found him sitting under a tree in deep meditation. Sumedha approached the sage and bowed down, expressing his desire to learn the secret to happiness. The sage looked at Sumedha and smiled. He picked up a golden branch from the ground and handed it to Sumedha. "What does this mean?" asked Sumedha, puzzled by the sage's actions. The sage replied, "This golden branch represents the world's desires and material possessions. You have everything this branch can offer, so why are you unhappy?" Sumedha realized that he had been chasing after things he already possessed. He understood that true happiness came not from material wealth, but from within himself. With newfound clarity, Sumedha thanked the sage and returned home. He began to appreciate the blessings he already had and worked to improve himself. Over time, Sumedha became known throughout the land for his wisdom and happiness. People from far and wide came to him seeking guidance, and so, through the simple gift of a golden branch, the sage had helped Sumedha find the true source of happiness. 3. The story of the mustard seed. Gautama Buddha once taught his disciples about the concept of impermanence. He explained that everything in life is subject to change, and nothing lasts forever. However, his students couldn't fully grasp the idea of impermanence, so the Buddha decided to use an analogy to help them understand. He picked up a mustard seed and held it in his hand. "Where do you think this mustard seed came from?" he asked his disciples. They replied that it probably came from a mustard plant. "And where does the mustard plant get its nourishment?" asked the Buddha. The students responded that the plant draws nourishment from the soil. "And where does the soil come from?" Buddha continued to question. Finally, his disciples realized that the soil came from rocks and other natural elements. Thus, the Buddha explained, everything in the universe is made up of smaller elements that are constantly changing and interacting with each other. Nothing is permanent or unchanging. The Buddha then told his students that just as the mustard seed could not exist without the various elements that composed it, they too were made up of various physical and mental elements. None of these elements were permanent, and therefore they should not cling too tightly to anything they experienced in life. Instead, they should learn to accept change and impermanence as part of the natural order of the universe. Through this simple yet powerful analogy, Gautama Buddha helped his disciples understand the concept of impermanence and its implications for their understanding of the nature of reality. 4. Loving kindness. One day, the Buddha was walking through the village and saw a young mother carrying her baby on her back. The baby was crying and making a lot of noise. The Buddha stopped and asked the mother, "Why is your baby crying?" The mother replied, "I don't know. He has been crying for a long time and I am worried that he might hurt himself." The Buddha smiled and said, "Your baby is crying because he doesn't know how to express his needs. He doesn't understand that you will take care of him. If you could show him that you love him and are there for him, he wouldn't cry anymore." The mother thought about what the Buddha said and realized that she had been reacting to her baby's crying by feeling irritated and frustrated. She hadn't stopped to think that her baby needed her love and attention. From that day on, whenever her baby cried, she would hold him close, sing to him and comfort him. And amazingly, the baby stopped crying as if he knew that he was loved and cared for. The mother was so happy that she went back to the Buddha and told him what had happened. The Buddha smiled and said, "You have learned to show loving kindness to your baby. But remember that all beings need love and kindness. If you can extend that love to everyone, you will be truly happy." 5. The bird in the cage. One day the Buddha was walking in the forest when he saw a bird trapped in a cage. The bird was trying to escape, flapping its wings and chirping sadly. The Buddha sat down next to the cage and meditated. Soon, a man approached carrying the cage with the bird. The Buddha asked the man why he had trapped the bird. "I want to eat it," the man replied. The Buddha asked, "Can't you see that this bird is still alive? Don't you think it deserves to live?" The man hesitated and then asked, "Will it be wrong if I set it free?" "No, it won't be wrong," the Buddha replied. "In fact, it will be right." The man opened the cage and the bird flew away. The Buddha then explained that just as the bird in the cage yearns for freedom, all living beings yearn for liberation from suffering. He who understands this and helps others attain liberation will achieve great happiness. 6. The lost treasure. Once upon a time in India, a farmer lost his son. He searched everywhere for his son, but couldn't find him anywhere. Desperate, he went to a wise hermit and explained his situation. The hermit listened patiently and then said, "You have lost your son, but you can find him if you look in the right place." The farmer asked, "Where should I look?" The hermit replied, "Look where your son likes to play. Look where he would hide when he was playing." The farmer thought for a moment and then realized that his son liked to play near a big tree in their field. He thanked the hermit and ran towards the tree, and to his joy he found his son hiding behind it. The farmer was overjoyed and hugged his son tightly. He realized that the hermit had given him a metaphorical map to finding his son. The map had been within him all along, but he hadn't realized it. From that day on, the farmer kept the hermit's words in mind. Whenever he faced problems, he remembered that the solution was within him, and he just needed to discover it. He became known throughout the village for his wisdom and ability to solve problems. 7. Mirror. Once upon a time in ancient China, there was a famous monk named Shishi. He was known for his wisdom and ability to help people understand the true meaning of life. One day, a young man visited Shifu and asked him a simple yet profound question, "How can I become pure?" Shifu smiled and replied, "You are already pure. You just need to realize it." The young man was confused. "What do you mean?" he asked. Shifu took the young man to a nearby lake and showed him a clear, smooth surface. "Do you see anything in the lake?" he asked. The young man replied, "I see myself." "That is because you are looking at yourself from the outside," said Shifu. "But if you want to see your true nature, you have to look inside yourself." The young man thought about Shifu's words and realized that he had been looking for purity in external things rather than within himself. From that day on, he started to look inward, and he discovered a sense of peace and purity that he had never felt before. These stories offer simple yet profound insights into life, happiness, and spirituality. They remind us to approach life with curiosity, humility, and an open mind. By embracing these lessons, we can navigate life's challenges more effectively and cultivate inner peace.